Hey guys, it's Cody Cachet. Welcome back to Come with Cachet. It is January 1st, 2019. Happy New Year's. I'm happy to have you here. Let's get started. So last time I was on, I was talking about my Christmas party, my orphan Christmas, which was a huge success. I had such a great time. Thank you to everyone who came out. I had a great bunch of people over. We did it right. There was hardly any problems and there was no trouble. My only trouble was my hangover, I guess, the next day that got me into the emergency room. Oh, I'm such a mess sometimes. I yeah, so the party's all over. Everyone's coherent, the whole night. Everyone made it home safely. I've had a few people sleep over. Is the next day as I'm sleeping things off. I got the whole day to sleep things off, I wake up with some bumps and bruises. And when I woke up in the morning to walk a friend out the day after, on the 26th, the day after the party, no bumps and bruises, good shape. I go back and crash, wake up later that night, I'm covered in bruises. I'm thinking, what the heck? So I go back to sleep. The next day, I have a huge bruise in my groin. My nose is black and blue. My eye is black and blue. It looks like someone beat the crap out of me. I had a pain in my chest. I'm thinking, oh my God, I have to go to the emergency room. Who knows what my mind is thinking, I'm going to the worst place possible, So I go into the emergency room and they tell me I have a broken nose. I must have fallen down. I sleepwalk. So I'm thinking I was hungover, sleepwalking. I fell down my stairs or something in my apartment. So today's the first. It's taken me the last few days to kind of recover. I'm still in a lot of pain. These pain meds are not doing everything, but they're helping a lot. My nose, I don't have to. It was funny in the ER. They said your nose looks straight. You're breathing all right. There might be a lot of blood, but this is as much as we can do here. We don't have to put a splint on. If there's any other problems, you're gonna have to go see a specialist. So that's as good as we can do here. The bruising's been clearing up. I haven't wanted to take any pictures and share that on social media. It's quite embarrassing. I did it all on my own. I don't even remember doing it. I woke up feeling fine. All the pain suddenly set in. The worst part was probably my sternum. I thought my lungs were caving in. I thought my chest was falling in. I couldn't roll over in bed. I couldn't move. Oh, for days at a time. I'm finally up and moving around today on New Year's, and this is the best New Year's gift ever, man. So, I hope everyone had a safe holiday. I wouldn't say that mine was unsafe. I just say that I learned a valuable lesson. Waking up with a bunch of bruises on my face reminded me, this is going to be my next segment of what I'm going to be, what I really wanted to talk about today, is of some of my drunken incidents, or one of my worst drunken incidents, where I woke up with a bunch of bruises and I didn't know what happened. And it was the perfect segue into talking about like just bad taxi, Uber, Lyft experiences. And I've got a couple, and I figured I would just conjoin them all together. So from that, waking up with I've never I actually once broke my finger, which breaking a bone is pretty bad. This broken nose wasn't so bad. I mean, the sternum was worse, but there was this one time transitioning into the public transportation mishaps. That's all I knew what to talk about today, and I wanted to try to keep it going on my podcast once a week. So, yeah, the one with a couple years ago, probably back in 2013, not a lot of years ago now. This was before, I can't even remember if I was lifting or whatever, but basically I was drunk as hell heading home from West Hollywood, and I get into a taxi. And I can't remember if I must not have asked him. You have to ask drivers if they accept credit cards at the beginning of the ride. I can't remember if I asked him or not. Now, guy gives me a ride home from West Hollywood to my house on the west side, which, West LA, Culver City area. And that's about, it's about a 20-minute drive at night with no traffic. Get to my place. He says, cash only. And I'm thinking to myself, I only have a credit card. I can pay with my credit card right now. He says, no, cash only. I'll take you to an ATM. I said, no, I'm not paying. I'm not going to an ATM right now. I was drunk as fuck. I don't remember. I do kind of vaguely remember this stuff all now. But it was funny. The next morning when I woke up, I didn't remember what happened until I looked at myself. But I'm drunk as fuck. I said, no, I'm not going to an ATM. And partially because I knew that my checking account was overdrawn, but my credit card would work. So he said he wasn't having it. The ATM was up the street. I wasn't doing it. I thought it was bullcrap that he wouldn't take my credit card and he would only take cash. He drugged me out of the taxi in front of my apartment building, beat the shit out of me, and he left me there on the sidewalk. I woke up the next morning, totally forgot about the whole thing until I looked in the mirror, and then it all came back to me. Oh my god, what happened? I had no receipt. I had no way of calling it in. I didn't know the taxi company. It was the craziest story up until then that had ever happened. Absolutely horrible story. So that was traumatizing. That was traumatizing. Now, I have two really, 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 really bad, in my opinion, Lyft and Uber stories. Um, One is almost unbelievable. It's going to sound like I'm making it up, and it is technically the worst. And that is with Uber, and this was probably about 3 years ago. The one that infuriates me the most is the one that happened last year with Lyft. So I'm going to go into the first one, which was really, really, no, really, really traumatizing and the most scary thing. And I can't believe this actually happened. And that, like, this should have been on the news. I get a ride home from work in Santa Monica at night in the dark when it's raining, about, I think it must have been probably 11 p.m. My Uber driver picks me up, and it was sketchy right from the start. I remember thinking that the guy that was picking me up, I thought it was a girl. Excuse me. I thought it was a girl, and it was a guy picking me up. Hispanic man. I couldn't really tell from the picture. I wasn't at this point in time. I wasn't really paying too much attention to that kind of stuff. But very early on, I noticed that he was speeding. He was going through the neighborhoods, and I noticed that he was going really, really fast through the neighborhoods, and that he was not stopping at the stop signs all the way. He was slowing down, not stopping. So and then he was just, pretty much just blowing through the stop signs. So about probably about the fourth or fifth stop sign, I just put my head down and I just prayed for my life. I was like, oh my god, he's not stopping. He's going a solid 40 through residential areas that are like 25. Not slowing down for speed bumps. We're talking about 15, I don't know if 20 is ridiculous over, but he's hitting those speed bumps really hard. That was the scariest Uber drive of my life. He got me there. I reported him. Uber gave me all my money back in a credit. Don't know what happened to the driver. Truly, my memory is telling me that he ran a red light, but I mean, all I could remember was the stop signs and me putting my head down and him flying through the neighborhood and I was honestly praying. I had 911 ready. I was thinking, should I call the cops? This is dangerous. I don't even know if this is the right person driving the car. Yeah, don't ever really know what happened to that person. Now, my next story is with what happened with Lyft last year. I was going to work. I had got this new job on the other side of town, and I had just gotten rid of my car, which really sucked because when I took the job, I had the car, but then my lease expired on my car, and then I had to start taking Lyft, and it was like a $45 Lyft to work this day because it was during rush hour, and it was all the way across town, and I was like, oh my god. So, get all the way to work, realize that I left my house keys in my car, or in the Lyft. So, long story short, I contact the Lyft driver and I say, "Hey, I left my keys in your car and I need them back." He's like, "Okay, I'll get your keys back." Long story short, he wants to meet. He lives on a completely different side of a completely different side of town than I do, and he's got a hard means of transportation as well. Now, if you leave something inside of a Lyft car, and you automatically get charged like $10 or $15 for them to bring it back to you, but it says that they'll bring it back to you. So I accept that he's got, that I'm going to pay the charge for because it was my house keys. I wanted my keys back. It was a whole situation getting into my house, then, getting home from work. And he said that he would give me my keys back. He accepted. So, Friday we're supposed to meet across town from me, downtown at a Starbucks. Now, he went from saying that he was going to meet me at the Starbucks, that he was going to leave my keys at this Starbucks, that he gave me the address to, and that I could pick them up from there. I thought that was sketchy as hell, but I was going to do it. So I got a friend to give me a ride to Starbucks, which is hard enough as it is because I don't have a car. So my friend and I are almost to the Starbucks, and then he says, "You know what? I couldn't get there, blah, 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 blah. I have some sort of excuse. I'll have to meet up with you another day later this week." Hitting him up, no response, ignoring me. Then he's saying, and then he sets up another point for me to meet him. Long story short, he sends me on a freaking wild goose chase through the town, 3 separate occasions trying to pick up my keys, just to tell me in the end, just to completely ignore me, and that for days, this goes on for 2 weeks, and then I've reported him multiple times. And then he tells me that he said, "Sorry, I got rid of your keys. I can't help you anymore." Reported him to Lyft, and Lyft never even got back to me. So, that is my podcast update for the week. I didn't know what to talk about. I was enraged by these stories. These are my 3 worst public transportation stories. I mean, I got a horrible one from a taxi, a horrible one from a Lyft, a horrible one from an Uber, and I hope none of it ever happens to you guys. Sharing these stories is fun, but I know everyone has them. Those 2 are just unbelievable to me. Like the wild goose chase through the city, a wild goose chase, a scavenger hunt through the city for my own house keys. Never got them back, by the way. Never got them back. I don't ever know what happened to those keys. All right, I probably had enough pain meds, so I might sound a little bit goofy. I'm going to get off of here. I love you guys. I thank you so much for listening to Come with Cachet, and I hope you have a great week and a happy New Year.